how's it going?
Very good.
Okay.
I'll show you a picture.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I think we are live.
All right.
Hi, GR.
Hi, Terry. How are you today?
Good, thank you. So you're actually live on the set. I'm like,
I am.
I was having a hard time getting on because of having technical difficulties, but I don't think anybody
Uh-huh.
would even we're like 7 minutes late. But hey, I want to start with something that I'm thankful for. Then you can go after.
Okay.
Right? So, I played tennis, and I haven't played tennis in a little bit. And I think I got what's called tennis elbow or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I can't move my right arm, and I haven't been able to do so for like 3 days, which means like when I go to even open the car door or grip anything or like having difficulties with this, everything is moving slower for me. And it's strange, but that has given me an appreciation for my right arm. I'm like, you never know how much you actually use something or appreciate it or need it until you don't have the use of it. And it's literally forced me to slow down and ask for help. And like today I like to make freshly squeezed orange juice. I can't squeeze anything, so it's just made me appreciate my health at like another whole new level. And the fact that I can walk and use my arm, even though I can't use it right now.
Sure.
I'm like so thankful for my health and the use of my right arm. Anyway, so how about you? You got something you want to share?
Well, I am thankful that I've got 2 young guys out here helping me with this job. I'm going to spin around and show you a video because I'm at that point where I don't really want to climb a tree anymore. Yes. But I got some young guys that do. So I'll show you behind me there. You can see over my shoulder a huge pile of branches that have been cut down. And then I'll try to get this swung around here so you can see.
Wow.
That's my son. Let's see here. How do I get this here? That's my son up in the tree. And that's our buddy there. They're getting that tree taken down. So I'm thankful that I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. Because at a certain age you shouldn't do that.
Well, you just don't have the same ability to heal and to do different stuff. So you definitely don't want to get hurt.
I don't know, because I prayed for my healing. So I'm like, Lord, I'll take the healing.
Believe me, I was praying for mine last night. So I get it.
So, so today, and anyway, we always start by sharing something that we're thankful for because we like to encourage people to live in a spirit of thankfulness, right? You can be content and thankful where you are while climbing that mountain, right? Owning your journey and getting to your next level financially, with your health, your relationships, improving your quality of life. So we said today we're going to talk about, and actually it's a perfect thing because of doing that job. We're talking about trusted contractors and the importance of, putting it together and having trusted contractors.
That's right. Yeah, well, the reason that I thought the topic was good was because of what we're doing here today.
Mm-hmm. I think I lost
contractors to give you quotes for a job, and it's something that I learned a long time ago that, first starting out. Yeah.
We lost you for a second, so I'm going to crop that part out. You want to start again?
Yeah, what I was going to say was, you told me that you had multiple contractors take a look at this job, and it reminded me of when I first kind of got started that was kind of a rule of thumb that you wanted to get at least 3 estimates, and that way you kind of knew what the right price range was. So if somebody's estimate was 50% higher than everybody else's, you got to kind of say, well, that person probably doesn't need the work, and that's probably paying more than they have to. And then if somebody's estimate is 50% lower than everybody else's, you got to question that too. Like, okay, why are they doing it so cheap? Like, are they not going to do a good job? Are they not going to finish it right? Are they going to take the money and run? Because I've had that happen. I gave a guy, I don't remember how much. I think I gave him $900 for materials. Never heard from him again. That's the last time I ever talked to the guy. He was supposed to be doing an HVAC job for me, and you're like, how could you make that kind of mistake? But it was early on in my career, and I didn't have a list of trusted contractors. And I knew his sister, so I figured, well, through the family relationship, there's a level of trust. Turns out the guy was a crook, but you live and learn. Sometimes I win, sometimes I learn. That's how I look at it. But you want to make sure that, in the beginning, at least, you're getting some quotes. And then once you do enough of maintenance and stuff, you're going to have an idea of what something costs. I had a guy who I was going to have him change a toilet. I had picked the toilet up at Lowe's. I had taken it to the property. Literally, all I needed him to do was take the old toilet off, put the new toilet on. And I said, "How much do you want?" And the guy said, $350. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I know how long it takes to change out a toilet because I've done it. You're looking at minimum, 15 to 20 minutes, maximum an hour tops, so $350 an hour is probably a little steep for your average contractor.
Actually, you said a couple things I want to piggyback off of two of them. But one right now, since you're talking about that, there is, I find, a minimum, right? So what I guess the general public might not realize is I find that there is a minimum. So some contractors will say, hey, our minimum is $150 to come out. But
sure.
We charge $75 an hour for one man, right? Or we'll
sure.
charge this amount for two people.
Sure.
And then so like that, and so that actually I think is a fair price, but right, $350 for a minimum might not be a fair price for a small job like that.
Exactly. So you have to evaluate it, and what's good for me might not be good for somebody else, and what's their going rate in California might not be the same in Delaware. Yes, but I don't pay. I when he said $350, I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that. I'll go do it myself for that. You know what I mean? So then he adjusted his price drastically. But you also got to know where you're at too. So once this was a new guy I was trying out. Right. And so he had never worked with me before. Well, ironically, he's never worked with me since because I'm not calling him ever again because that's just such a price that you would give someone who didn't know. So if I was to call this was a side job, I was paying him cash. Okay. Right. He had just moved to the area and I'm friends with his nephew. If I had called Fletcher's Plumbing and Heating or Isham, they would have charged about $150 to come out and work for an hour. Right. Fine. Right. That's reasonable. Even if it was $200, fine. That's reasonable. But this guy making cash money on the side, it was going to take him less than an hour. He wanted $350. You got to look out for people like that because they're out there.
Actually, I want to speak to the person who might be new in the contracting business, right? Who I know one of the things I coach my clients to do is if you don't know what to charge, let them know, hey, I'm good at what I do, I'm trustworthy, but I'm a little bit lost at what to charge. So I'm playing around with the charging game. Maybe you can recommend for me what you're willing to pay that's fair. And if you pay a fair price, you're going to find a good, trusted contractor. Don't pay a price that makes it so that they can't eat and feed their family and pay their electric bill. Because then you're never going to find them again either. They're not going to come back because they're going to remember that you didn't treat them right.
Right. But that's the thing. So here's the thing. I pay my people. I pay my people good because I'm with you. I want good people that want to work with me and everything like that and want to, have that trust. I have some guys that I've worked with so long, I don't even get a quote from them. I say, hey, the tenant has no hot water. Go fix it. And I know that if there's something that's major, like a new hot water heater, they're going to call me. They're going to say, hey, man, this hot water heater shot. Swapping it out, it's going to be $600 or $800 or whatever it's going to be. I have that much trust with those guys. You know what I mean? Just like some of our owners that we manage property for, they'll have a limit. They'll say, hey, if it's less than 300, just do it. If it's less than 500, just do it. You don't have to call me. But if it's something major where it's a heating system and we're going to spend $5,000, most of the time we're going to have a conversation about that with somebody.
Yeah. So, and actually, I'll piggyback off of that also because one of the reasons we do these talks here on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And we're in Dover, Delaware. One of the reasons we do that is for people because we started having conversations and we said, it'd be good for people to hear these conversations we have, right? Heart-to-heart conversations about business, property management, and so I actually do want to speak to somebody who's maybe doing property management, because I'm creating an investment group and I've got two people who do property management, and one of the things they said was like they don't have systems in place, right? So
Right.
I don't know what yours says, but in my property management agreement, in my agreement with my my landlords, right, I
Hmm.
say that anything that's 800 or above, we have to get approval for. But anything that's 800 and below, like they want to be able to live their life and also not be concerned about every little detail. And
Yeah.
that actually saves them time if we're not having to, if they trust us enough to say, hey, we're getting you the best price because, like I
Right.
tell them, my job is to make you money as a property manager. If
Right.
you don't make money, you're not going to buy more rentals. You're not going to want me to manage your property. So I'm always going to look for the best deal, right?
Absolutely.
I always want you to get a big check at the end of the month.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
yeah. And so then I wanted to share too why you guys are doing this job, because activity produces activity. Somebody who's really wise told me that one time. And I was looking for somebody to cut a tree, and I happened to be in the office with you, and you said, I happened to be looking for somebody to do this, and you said, hey, Terry, I'm going to go look at a rental that I'm getting ready to manage, do some work for. And it just so happened you guys were cutting down some trees. And I said, oh my gosh, I need that. And I also know from people who have like keep cleaning businesses. I talked to someone, right, the other day who said, I have so much work because every time I go clean an Airbnb or go clean a property, people come knocking on the door and saying, hey, can I get your card?
Yeah.
Right? And so activity produces activity.
Yeah.
But so like you said, I actually did have somebody quote me 50% higher than
Yeah.
what you guys quoted me.
So let me just share something else that I'm piggyback on what you just said, and that is both you and I, for whatever reason, we understand that you have to strike while the iron's hot. In other words, you saw an opportunity where somebody's cutting a tree. You said, can you give me a quote? You called me yesterday and said, when can you look at it? And we said, we'll go right now. And we literally made a U-turn and drove to the job site and called you back with a quote within 30 minutes,
Yes.
I think. You know what I mean? And it was a 15-minute ride to get here. So,
Right.
And here we are the very next day, less than 24 hours after giving you the quote, doing the job. So in business in general, especially in the society we live in, people want results and they want them now.
Yes.
And if you're in any kind of business, and unless you have some kind of monopoly where you can just delay and people have nowhere else to go, if you're in a competitive kind of business, you do have to jump on the opportunity when it presents itself. So, if you're buying real estate and an agent calls you and says, hey, I got a property I think it's a great deal, he's probably or she's probably not the only agent calling a client. So sometimes being the first one in there to make an offer makes all the difference. And so any kind of opportunity you could jump on that you're interested in, I'd say jump on it quick.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, because I don't know if I have any realtors for investors who watch this or who watch this in the future. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. So I don't know if somebody will watch this on the YouTube channel 10 years from now, right? But I'm a realtor for investors. I was actually talking to somebody about their plan to get to $100,000 passive income. And they shared with me where they are currently starting. And I said, wow, where you're currently starting, you're like 5 to 7 years. I always say 10 years, but you might be 5 to 7 years out, right? So anyway, what this person shared with me is that they're doing a cash out refi right now. They've already contacted a lender. So without even chatting with them, guess what I'm doing? I'm on the hunt for the property.
Sure.
They don't need to know I'm on the hunt for the property, but if I find it, I'm going to call. So I'm always, realtor for investors, I'm always looking for a good property so I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I found a good property. I got a list of investors I can talk with to see if they're, and it's so funny because, I only try to do 8 to 10 sales a year.
Right.
But I think I'm doing okay right now, in the real estate market. I talked with someone that I met 5 days ago because they were referred to me by somebody, and we went under contract. I met someone, and within 5 days, we went under contract, and we're closing in like 3 weeks because
Right.
it's like, hey, this is what they said they're looking for. Let me jump on it.
Absolutely.
Gotta take
Yeah.
if
Yep.
you're
Take action. Yep.
yes. And so Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month, where we invite everyone to come to Myers Realty, right?
Yeah.
This next Tuesday, I said, so we call it goal setting, but as I'm talking to people, I'm telling them, no, we're action setting, right? We're going to talk
Right.
about the action that you need to take to get this result, right?
Love
So
it.
we don't
Yeah.
create a vision board, we create an action board.
Right.
This action gets the result. Don't you love that?
I love it. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, and what I tell people is, now with money, you have to be careful because you don't want to lose a whole bunch of money, but sometimes you know what's the right action because you took the wrong action.
Yeah.
You know, and like with finding trusted contractors. So I want to piggyback off that also because we originally started with making sure that you get quotes. So I did get about 4 quotes. One of them was 50% higher.
Yep.
One of them was 50% lower. 3 were right in the middle. And the reason that you guys got the job is obviously it's because I trust you.
Right. Level of trust. Yeah.
Yet we're in relationship with each other. But so it's a trusted relationship. But it was also because I shared what some of my concerns were, what I needed to make happen. And then you called me back and said, listen, my son has a proposal for you. And it worked for me. And then you said, we'll go start it tomorrow. I'm like, yes. So,
yeah, and I also want to put a plug in for good contractors, because like I said, the guy wanted $350 for like 30 minutes worth of work, which if you did the math on that, it's somewhere around $6,000 a day. If anybody can make $6,000 a day, they're probably an entertainer or an athlete, you know what I mean? Or they're something really, or they're a doctor or something really special. So you got to evaluate. But at the same time, sometimes you'll hear a quote from a contractor and you're like, well, that's only going to take him, 45 minutes. Yeah, but he has equipment. He's got to drive to the spot. He may have to go pick up material. Like sometimes you don't know all the stuff that goes around. I have an $800 chainsaw sitting over there and another one that's worth $200. I got ladders that are worth $250, $300 a piece. I mean, there's a couple $1,000s worth of equipment sitting in the backyard. You know what I mean? Right. Which nobody said. Well, they're like, well, that job didn't take very long. Yeah, well, the ladder he's on costs $350. You know what I mean? So,
yes.
It ain't cheap to drive places anymore. You know what I mean? So you got to consider all that when they do give you a price. It's not just about how long they're there. It's they gotta live, and then on top of that, they do have to make a profit so they can feed their kids and pay their mortgage. You know what I mean? So, like I said,
feel like so we actually, we have we just started our contracting business again. And when we came up with a price, that's what we came up with is $150 minimum, right? But we're going to do some work with some people down at the beach, and they said we charge our contractors about $75 an hour, because you figure too, if you're in a tax bracket where you're paying 50% in taxes, because now when you're talking about getting paid on a 1099, we got to factor in, what we're going to also pay taxes on that on our profit. And so, anyway, but that's one of the things we said to them was it's still $150 minimum for us, which means if we go from job to job, they'll probably give us, if we go from job to job, we've already factored in the driving time, the time to invoice, the time, the time that you're paying your labor to do all of that.
Right.
It isn't just about coming and doing that one job. And business
That's
people, business people realize that maybe the average public who doesn't normally hire contractors. So if they have, like you said, if they have something that takes 30 minutes and the contractor said it's $150 minimum to come out, that's a really good deal.
Yeah.
They should know that's a really good deal because, time to invoice, even if you're hiring someone, time to all the business stuff that goes around just coming out to that location.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you are looking for a better price, if you are willing to pay somebody cash, I think sometimes you do get a little bit better deal if somebody's willing to pay, if you're willing to pay somebody cash. So you can always say, hey, is that your price no matter what? Or if I pay you cash, can I get a little break? And see what they say, if you're all trying to save a couple bucks.
Right.
But if you pay cash, you can't write off your taxes, right? Well, it makes it more difficult for sure. But
not be insured either.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you always want to get, like you said, it depends on how big the job is, but I always want a receipt saying that they're paid, so there's no discussions about that. And then you can use the receipts. I did get audited back in like 2019 or so for like 2017, 2018. And, on one of the properties that I own, she did ask for, I had some deductions. She asked for the receipts. Luckily, I had a file full of receipts for her and handed them over to her, and she was fine with it. So the IRS agent was fine with it. So, I've only been audited one time in my entire life, and I'm 49. So I don't think you have to worry about being audited very often. But when it does happen, you want to make sure you got your ducks in a row, as a business person, to make sure you can say, yep, this is where the money came in. This is where the money went out.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'll share that too, because I had someone, sometimes I have people say to me, Terry, 10%, because we're talking about the value of pricing, right? 10% to manage a property. Once you get a tenant in there, all you're doing is collecting the money, but that's not really true. That's not really true, because I'm having to input receipts in the system. And if I'm not doing it, I'm hiring someone to do it. Right. So for me, I use Dropbox, and then I use another system. Like I said, that's going to be included in I'm doing
Right.
a realtor investment course. I'm creating a course, and that information is going to be in there, because as I talk to property managers, they're like, yeah, I don't have any systems in place to keep track of receipts, or to keep track of, like, if you want to print something up for your landlord so that they can see. And sometimes they want you to send it directly to their accountant. Right. So
Right.
it is just about, to me, man, I'm not even sure if 10% is worth it. But so when they're saying, wow, 10% feels like a lot, one of the things also, it's really important to value what people are doing for you, because when somebody talks like that, it makes me feel like they don't value me, right?
Sure.
And I'm looking
Sure.
for landlords who value the fact that I make it so that they collect money and they have peace of mind. That's something really to value.
Yeah, I mean, you figure when we go out to eat, I don't know about you, when we go out to eat, I'm always leaving a tip 15 to 20%, right? So if you're willing to tip your waiter or waitress 15 or 20%, wouldn't it make sense to pay your property manager, your real estate agent, your stockbroker, or anybody else who's making you money a decent percentage?
Yes. So yeah, that's what I say. So it's important to, understand somebody's value. And here's the thing too. I also, as far as getting the quote, I did get a couple people who were like, we're not even going to come look at it for a minimum of $1,000. Right. I didn't really know what it was going to cost to do the job. But the reason they can do that, because here's what happens. It's really important to find a good contractor, because that contractor only has so much time in a day. And if they're really good, they do a quality job, they're trustworthy, right? They're going to get booked super fast, and then they're gone. You don't have the opportunity to establish a relationship with them any longer.
Right.
Like, I know people who started businesses right now who work with a spirit of excellence, and within 3 months, they're fully booked. And now and so sometimes people say, well, it's hard to find a good contractor, because a good contractor, a trustworthy person, stays fully booked,
Yep.
So, okay. So that was, we were going to talk about, how's the job going? Can I see it?
Sure.
What time did you guys start?
Sure. So I'm not sure. Let's see. Can you see Trey? Wave. Can you see him?
Anything that's going to cause you to fall out of the tree. So we might as well plug in for anybody who's looking to have a tree cut down, right? You guys do tree cutting.
Yeah. So I mean, we do small jobs. We're not a tree company. So if you have something that's like, enormous hanging over your house, I would say, and that's the other thing. You want a contractor who's willing to say, you know what? This is above my pay grade. We don't do this. We're not comfortable doing this. I've had some contractors, and he would go in and say, look, you really need an electrician. Like, this is above my pay. And I'm like, cool, great. Thanks for telling me. I don't have any negative feelings towards him at all. Right. I'm actually thrilled that he would go in and say, look, I'm not comfortable doing this. I can do all the other stuff that you've been having me do for years, but this, we got to call in somebody who specifically does that. So, certain contractors, will just say they can do anything, and then you find out they can't do much of anything, so.
You guys said that to me in the beginning too. You said, your son said, if I don't feel comfortable doing the job, I'm not going to do it.
That's right.
That's not an easy job to do, because the quotes that I got said to me, Terry, it's not easy to get in and out of here. That's how I knew the price that you had was a fair price. When you're quoting 5, one of them is 50% higher. And that was exactly my scenario. One was 50% lower.
Right.
3 of them were all equal. Then I know, okay, now which one out of the 3 am I going to pick? And like I said, you guys just jumped on it right away. 2 of them for me were trusted referrals, because that's what I do is I pick up the phone and I start calling everybody and saying, hey, who do you know that does this? And that's really good still to keep a Rolodex. People don't do that any longer, right? They don't keep a Rolodex of and who's really in business to be in business, because when you're asking for a connection, they text it to you right away.
Yeah.
The minute they pull over or they're red light, they text it to you right away.
I just got a Microsoft Word document. I wrote down every contractor, what they do, what their number is, and I just use that when I got a job and I need to, get somebody out there. I use that, and they, it helps me keep track of, who I've used and who's done a good job. And if they don't do a good job, they don't make the list. Right. So
well, let's switch gears a little bit, because I think people are getting now why it's important to get a trusted contractor. But when you're putting together, when you're wanting to build like I said, the focus for me always is building for my clients, getting them $100,000 a year passive repeat income, right? By building a profitable, sustainable rental portfolio. So, we're back.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly why that happened, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'll say again, so sharing with someone how to build a strong, profitable rental portfolio. So one of the things I suggest for them is I say, hey, you need a team of people you can trust. Yep. One for me, I used TurboTax for a long time, but I actually believe that people should have a really good accountant. So I like to recommend a good accountant to be on your team, especially if you're going to get to $100,000 a year passive income. To me, I found that a really good CPA is going to actually save you money in the long run, because they're going to tell you. I find that I have some investors who, like towards September and October, they know whether they need to pick up a property, right, to offset some taxes. Because it's like, if I'm going to pay this amount in taxes, I might as well pick up another investment property, or I might as well do something. Or I've got this money, Terry, what properties need to have anything done to them? Because if I'm going to pay it in taxes, I might as well write it off and get the job done. Right. And so for me, a good accountant, I think a good realtor for investors. Right. I like to have like 3 to 5 lenders. I personally like to recommend. Now, if it's like one person, I was talking to somebody the other night, I'm a realtor for investors, so I recommend 3 to 5, but you personally might just need 1 to 3 lenders. And the reason I say that is because what if somebody retires? Right. I mean, you don't really want to have all your eggs in one basket. Right. Obviously a really good property manager. Did I hit all of the list of people? Lender, insurance agent. Really good insurance is super important, to understand when you need. And then, I'm sorry, one more, a really good attorney. So everybody always says, do you have this team of people? And I like to recommend an attorney who does estate planning. So. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're almost at 30 minutes, and I want to help these guys because we're getting to a difficult part of the job. But but great conversation.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, GR. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, tell your son and them I said hi. I'm probably going to come out there.
Okay.
I have another meeting at 2, but I might stop out there just to check it out.
Sounds great.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Terry. Thanks. Yep. All right. See ya. Bye-bye.
Okay, you guys. So these live streams I take, what I find is that we go live on Facebook because I love Facebook. I love Facebook memories. I just love Facebook. I love that they bring back photos, however, when we go live, it tends to kind of get lost through the feed. So what we've done is we're also taking these videos and we're putting them on YouTube to make it easier for people to find, right? So let me just share with you some of the things that are available to you if you are wanting to pick up investment properties, buy a home, you're building your business, you maybe need some financial coaching, right? So I have a financial coaching community. Really the best start for that is to actually get on our email list. So I always drop in the comments from the lives that we do, how you can join our email list. And then once a month, I do a free Zoom session. So I also post like clips of those free Zoom sessions. So we just had one recently, and I did share one on YouTube, and I did share it on this Facebook feed, right? So you can, and the purpose of that is so that we can connect and get to know one another and build, kind of like what GR and I were talking about here, a trusted relationship with people who actually really want to get to $100,000 a year passive income, or you want to grow your business or improve your quality of life. So I'm really super excited that, we're doing this, but you can eventually find this on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Terry Collins Proverbs 31 Lifestyle. And that's what I like to encourage people, improving their quality of life and moving from active to passive income, right? Being content. We always start with what you're thankful for, because being content with where you are while you're earning more, to give more, improving your quality of life, staying ahead of inflation. So I love it, you guys. And so, like I said, first step, maybe get on our email list, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then the first Tuesday of every month right now for 12 sessions, we're doing a free real estate investment session, some business stuff, personal development, because, really, your income level is affected by where you are, personally, your development. So, okay. All right, you guys, blessings in God's favor. As always, from my heart to yours, may God bless your efforts to be physically and financially healthy and strong. Love you guys. Mwah.